If you've been watching along with the most recent lore videos for the Long Dark on this channel, you should now know what Rudiger's true intentions were and everything there is to know about the outbreak caused by his machine. Both of these videos are very important for this one, so I would highly recommend watching both before continuing this video. Now that I've talked about one outbreak within this game, it's time to talk about the other one. I've talked about the Perseverance Mills outbreak before, but not with the complete knowledge of the Tales trilogy. This video will also, once and for all, confirm what Hinterland meant by this entry on the Tales from the Far Territory roadmap. The connection between the Tales and Wintermute is now out in the open. Before I continue, please make sure to comment, like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so I can keep making these videos. Just like the previous video about the Langston Mine outbreak, I want to ask and answer two questions. What caused this outbreak and what were the symptoms? For this video though, I'm going to answer them in reverse. So let's start with the symptoms. There isn't a lot of direct physical information for the PM outbreak. There are 3 cutscenes from throughout Wintermute that will help here. The first one is actually 2 separate cutscenes that happen at the same time. The call that both Will and Astrid make on a radio during an Aurora both confirm that PM has been quarantined. This isn't that helpful to figure out the symptoms of this outbreak, but it helps establish the gravity of the situation there. The second cutscene is the flashback that Astrid has in episode 3. This is that cutscene.
Interesting. I wonder. Damn it. Sleep Research Center, Dr. Greenwood speaking.
Did you get it?
I told you not to call here.
I'm sorry, but I'm scared.
I am working on it.
It's getting worse. We have to do something.
I'm going as fast as I can.
You said you'd help. You said you had something that could help her.
I can't just... Look, it is in a secure area of the lab. I can't just walk out with it. There are security protocols and...
Astrid, it's getting worse. You have to do something. You understand that better than anyone.
Yes, I do.
Find a way and get up here as soon as you can.
I will. As soon as I can figure out how to... I'll find a way to get it to you.
Have you asked Will?
No. It's been years since we... I haven't asked him yet.
We don't have time for this, Astrid. You need to do this, and soon.
I will. I'll fix it. I promise I will get there.
I'm afraid it's happening again, Astrid. I'm afraid we'll lose her this time.
That's not gonna happen.
Hurry, Astrid.
From this cutscene, we learn a few things. Astrid works at the Seraphim Sleep Research Center, which was working on the cure to the PM outbreak. That tells us a lot about the nature of the outbreak. The caller, who is known as Jayne Yang, tells Astrid that things at Perseverance Mills are getting worse. She also explicitly says that Astrid understands this situation better than anyone. This confirms that Astrid knows exactly what is happening at PM and the consequences of the outbreak. Unfortunately, this still doesn't help us figure out the symptoms, although there are 2 lines that are troubling. I'm afraid it's happening again. I'm afraid we'll lose her this time. This will be important after I analyze the last cutscene. The final cutscene, the most important one, is at the end of episode 4. Astrid arrives at Perseverance Mills and is saved by 3 people. One turns out to be Jayne and the other 2 are strangers. Here is that cutscene.
Another one! In the water!
But not drown like the others.
Must not be a quarantine breaker then?
Is it another one?
This one is different!
Can't be.
Watch it. Might be infected.
No, not her. Where is it?
Need water.
She doesn't look good.
Get her some water, now. Astrid, you came. You said you would, and you did. But where is the case? Where's the cure?
Let me clear some things now that you may point out a little later. These people have no idea what this illness is. They were put into a quarantine who knows how many weeks or months before the first flare. They were most likely ignorant of the situation and were just told to not leave the quarantine zone. The reason why the man warns about touching Astrid because of an infection risk is precisely because of what I just said. The same goes for the face mask. They just have no clue what this illness actually is. Now, I can explain why this stuff had to be clarified. There is very little physical evidence here for the symptoms of the outbreak. With little physical evidence, I was afraid people would comment about the infection risk mentioned and the masks the men were wearing. The only thing we can notice is the eyes of the men. They look oddly dark and saggy, like they haven't been sleeping well. We know this all has to do with sleeping from the flashback in episode 3, so this makes sense. These guys haven't been sleeping well. So this is where the physical evidence ends. It's not a lot, but there are 2 lines in this cutscene that are very important. In fact, these lines right here confirm more about this outbreak than the dark, sleepless eyes. But not drowned like the others. Must not be a quarantine breaker then? Did you watch the previous video about the Langston mine outbreak? If not, I would highly recommend watching it now. The very ending is incredibly relevant here. Do you get why I said these lines are very important? Even if you did, I'm still going to explain it. These lines tell us 2 things. People are breaking quarantine and they are washing ashore after drowning to death. If there is one thing that you needed to take away from the Langston mine outbreak video, is that water is strangely important for that outbreak. Why would people be breaking quarantine, getting into these waters which are incredibly cold, and just drowning? Going back to the flashback cutscene, those last lines that I mentioned give more context to what may be happening here. I'm afraid it's happening again. I'm afraid we'll lose her this time. Jayne is afraid that something is going to happen to someone again. What happened to this person? I think these 2 lines in the flashback cutscene and the lines from the PM cutscene are pieces to a puzzle. People are leaving their homes and intentionally getting into the water, except I don't think it's truly intentional. It's accidental. These people are suffering from some kind of episodic event that causes them to wander from their home. This would be something that occurs on occasion. This would also mean that these people are losing their damned minds. Literally, no one would dare enter these waters unless they wanted to die. I think they are doing it subconsciously. But why water? The reason I asked you to make sure you understand the Langston mine outbreak is because the drownings are so critical for understanding the PM outbreak. These people must be suffering from some kind of mental deterioration similar to the victims of the Langston mine outbreak. This would work perfectly with the fact it involves a sleep research center. The PM outbreak is all about the mind and what is happening to it. What is happening to these people is the exact same thing that happened in the Langston mine. To summarize, the people in Perseverance Mills are suffering some of the symptoms of the Langston mine outbreak, including sleep-related issues, which may be insomnia, episodic events, which may be sleepwalking, and mental deterioration. The people suffering from these episodes are wandering away from their homes, with the water close by, something that was essentially a strange fixation from the various notes across the tales. They get in, drown, and wash ashore the next day. These episodes may even be some form of psychosis, preventing them from figuring out what they are actually doing and where they are. Depending on how long this outbreak has been going, these people, the ones drowning, must have been on the brink of death anyways, but we don't really know. I now believe without a doubt that these outbreaks and their specific symptoms are the connection between the tales and Wintermute, and water was the key to understanding this mystery. If these outbreaks are from the same origin, then that means somewhere near PM is another machine similar to Rudiger's. While we don't know who got the data from Rudiger, I would not be surprised if we hear the name Jean Industries in episode 5. I think there are 2 possible scenarios here. First, the machine is still running even up to the first flare. Although it's possible the first flare damaged it, it might still be partially functional like the Far Territory machine. I don't know if this means we will see glimmer fog around Perseverance Mills. Second, the machine was shut off before the first flare and the people were just left to suffer. Also keep in mind, while it may be a machine that is capable of the same result, it may not look anywhere near the same in both shape and size. 40 years is a long time and technology exploded between the 1980s and 2020s. If you have gone through all 3 tales and feel somewhat confused, you can look through my The Long Dark Rudiger's Project playlist and find videos titled The Story of Buried Echoes, Last Horizon, and the individual bunkers for Signal Void. Those videos contain the narrated notes and focus on the story presented by those notes. If you want a general refresher of the tales as a whole, then my recent video, The Complete Story of the Tales Trilogy, will help. It is a condensed version of the story of the tales in chronological order. This playlist and video will be linked in the description. If you are confused about anything specific, let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so I can keep making them.